and has protested missile tests off disputed islands with Russia as tensions between the two countries escalate. Liberia has received its first group of migrants deported from the US under a new resettlement deal between the two countries. Japan has lodged a formal protest against Russia over a missile test conducted off disputed islands that President Vladimir Putin visited earlier this month. The test involved a coastal missile system firing from Etarafu, the largest island in the chain, backed by a guided missile cruiser and a nuclear-powered submarine. Russia's Pacific Fleet says the drill simulated an attack on enemy ships and hit every target at a range of at least 300 kilometers. Japan's foreign minister called Russia's military buildup on the islands, quote, unacceptable, saying it runs counter to Tokyo's long-standing claim over the territory. Japan and Russia have disputed the islands since the end of World War II. Tokyo considers them an integral part of its territory, illegally occupied first by Soviets and now by Russia. Relations between the two countries have deteriorated sharply since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, with Tokyo joining Western sanctions against Moscow.
Australian police have charged a 27-year-old Russian-Australian man with foreign interference for allegedly seeking to provide Russia with information about Ukrainian military activities. Police said the man traveled to Russia in October 2024 for military-style training before returning to Australia and maintaining contact with people he believed were linked to Russian intelligence. He then traveled to Ukraine in 2025, where police allege he joined the Ukraine armed forces and gained access to information about military personnel, units and locations.
A number of electronic devices and various items relevant to the investigation were seized, which will undergo extensive forensic examinations.
Intentional foreign interference carries a maximum 20-year prison sentence in Australia.
"20 migrants deported from the United States have landed in Liberia. They're the first arrivals under a deal that could see up to 1,200 people sent there within a year. The plane touched down near the capital Monrovia on Thursday afternoon, where the new arrivals boarded a bus and were taken away by government staff. Liberia says the migrants are free to leave the country whenever they choose, or to apply for asylum, and insists it received no compensation for taking part in the arrangement, though it will get support to strengthen its migration system. The move comes as President Trump's administration widens deportation eligibility, including for people who long held legal protection in the US for fear of persecution in their home countries.
A group of Cuban migrants, including 4 minors, have been rescued at sea after going missing last week, Mexico's Navy said. The 15 migrants set sail from Cuba's Pinar del Rio province on 11th of August, according to Cuban and US media. Their whereabouts had been unknown, raising fears for their safety as reports suggested the boat was running low on fuel. Beyond the latest rescue, Cubans have risked dangerous sea crossings for decades, seeking to reach the United States or Mexico. The journeys have often ended in tragedy, with hundreds of migrants drowning over the past decade or being returned by coast guards. The rescue comes amid worsening conditions in Cuba, where Washington's energy blockade has contributed to severe shortages of electricity, food, water, and medicine.
nos encontramos frente a un hallazgo de una ofrenda humana que se encontró al interior de un canal ceremonial de la cultura Lima. Estamos ubicados en Huacapullana, en lo que vendría a ser el sector B, Huacachica, en lo que vendría a ser la puerta o ingreso principal al centro ceremonial para la época aproximadamente 650 después de Cristo.
Es una característica de Huacapullana desde hace bastantes décadas. De hecho, es lo que se encuentra casi como atractivo para la gente que viene a visitarnos. Encontrar en medio de la urbe un espacio arqueológico tan antiguo es sorprendente en general.
In there, in the actual Garrison Tavern, we have some of our Peaky Blinders in there. We've got singing, we've got speeches. We are introducing the overarching story in there from these actors and from these characters to the guests. And then some guests may want to stay and just have a drink. And we'll also sometimes have live bands as well on certain evenings as well. Some guests can stay and have a drink. Otherwise, you can sort of upgrade to go into the underworld itself.
You meet characters along the way, you are given storylines and missions, and it's a whole world. You know, the idea is that the audience don't move in a batched linear way where they move from one room to the next. They can go anywhere.
Guests can discover, for example, Winston Churchill calls on a phone. So if you're lucky, you may pick the phone up and hear Winston Churchill talking to you. Someone who sounds suspiciously like Alfie Solomons rings in as well, and it's quite rude to you. But again, there's these characters popping up all over, and our cast bring a lot of those extra characters to life as well. All the characters that the actors are playing are brand new. We've created new characters for the underworld.
Something that's really nice in this series, something that I picked up from the way they speak, is they say "a" a lot. So you say something like, "All right, how are you doing today, eh?"
A relic from World War II that everyone has been talking about for weeks. This motorcycle has laid in the mud of the Danube for more than 80 years. Low water levels in Budapest have exposed the wreckage. Euronews returned to the site of the discovery.
Hier lagen sehr viele Trümmerfahrzeuge aus der letzten Zeit des Krieges in Budapest. Und diese Trümmer wurden hier alles runtergeschoben, direkt nach dem Krieg. Und erst später kamen dann diese Felsen dann drauf.
Fighting raged around Budapest for 102 days in 1945. Tens of thousands of soldiers and civilians died. To commemorate the battles for Budapest, the motorcycle recovered from the Danube will later be part of an exhibition.
Wir haben eine reiche Sammlung von den Geräten des Zweiten Weltkrieges und dazu wird es eingestellt ein Prachtstück. Unser Ziel ist damit eine Ausstellung oder in der Ausstellung eine solche Prachtstück zeigen, was zu den Kämpfen für Budapest wird ein gravierendes Stück dazu.
What the mud had preserved over decades is now becoming visible piece by piece. In addition to the motorcycle, there is also equipment and military identity tags belonging to 2 soldiers.
Die Gebeine wurden aufgenommen und in das Depot geliefert, also in den größten Soldatenfriedhof des Volksbundes in Ungarn, den Sammelfriedhof Budapest. Da wurden die Gebeine gereinigt, wurden anthropologisch aufgenommen, erfasst und werden dann im Herbst, im Oktober oder November mit den anderen in diesem Jahr gefundenen Soldaten eingebettet.
Until then, the experts are trying to find out more about the 2 men.
Wenn er gefallen wäre, dann hätten ihn seine Kameraden hätten die Erkennungsmarke gebrochen. Der obere Teil bleibt bei dem Soldaten mit den 2 Löchern und der untere Teil nehmen die Kameraden an sich und schicken an die zentrale Stelle.
This would give the fallen soldiers a grave after more than 80 years and perhaps one bearing their names. For the Volksbund and the Hungarian Institute and Museum of Military History, remembrance is also a form of peace work.